Have you ever noticed something strange? The older we get, the more afraid we become of taking risks. We hesitate, we overthink, and above all, we're terrified of making mistakes. Many people assume this fear comes naturally with adulthood, but the real problem isn't age. The real problem is how our way of thinking was shaped long before we ever became adults. It was shaped in school. Education was created with a noble intention to help humans grow, but without realizing it, the way most of us were taught for years actually formed a mindset that now holds us back. There's a phrase that explains this perfectly. Schooling is not always learning. And in this video, we're going to break down 7 ways the school system unintentionally misleads us. Before we continue, a quick disclaimer. This video does not claim that school is useless. School plays a crucial role in educating future generations. What we are criticizing here are certain systemic patterns that quietly shape our mindsets, often in harmful ways. So watch until the end, because by then you may finally understand why our society functions the way it does today. One strange thing about many of us is that we're incredibly good at completing tasks, but when asked to make independent decisions, we suddenly freeze. Think back to your school days. From morning until afternoon, almost every aspect of life was controlled. Where to sit, what to wear, what to study, what rules must never be broken. From an early age, we were trained to follow instructions, not to search for solutions. Without realizing it, this system rewarded obedience, not independence. So, when school ends and the rules disappear, many people feel empty. This is one reason why so many adults experience a quarter-life crisis. They don't know what to do with their lives because for years their path was written by someone else. True growth doesn't come from following instructions. It comes from being allowed to get lost and finding your own way back. This is one of the biggest differences between our education system and those in more progressive countries, especially in Scandinavia. Not freedom without boundaries, but freedom to explore, to make mistakes, and to solve problems without fear of being labeled wrong. As a result, people grow up more independent, less dependent on constant guidance. Now let's talk about something painfully familiar, the fear of being wrong. When a teacher asks, "Does anyone have a question?" the classroom usually goes silent. Not because no one is confused, but because mistakes are expensive. In school, mistakes mean red ink, low scores, remedial classes, or being scolded in front of everyone. Sometimes, even asking a simple question leads to ridicule. Over time, the brain learns a dangerous pattern. Asking questions equals shame. The impact of this follows us into adulthood. We develop a fixed mindset, a belief that mistakes reflect stupidity, not growth. So we stay silent, we avoid opportunities, we choose safety over possibility. Ironically, neuroscience shows that the brain grows fastest when we make mistakes. Mistakes are fertilizer for growth, but our education system often teaches us to throw that fertilizer away and replace it with shame. Look at young children. They ask endless questions. Why is the sky blue? Why can birds fly? That curiosity is natural. But notice what happens as they grow older. The questions disappear. Why? Because curiosity is slowly shut down. Questions outside the curriculum are often dismissed as annoying, unnecessary, or pointless. Eventually, we learn that curiosity is a waste of time. Sir Ken Robinson once said that education systems often train creativity out of children. They are shaped into obedient factory workers, not curious innovators. This system benefits those in power, but for ordinary people, it becomes a lifelong trap. Have you noticed how difficult it is for many people to accept different opinions? Disagreement feels like a personal attack. This comes from years of being taught that every question has one correct answer. In school, we rarely learn that problems can be viewed from multiple perspectives. If your answer differs from the textbook, it's labeled wrong. So, as adults, we grow uncomfortable with disagreement. Discussion turns into argument. Dialogue turns into hostility. Not because we're intolerant by nature, but because we were never trained to think differently. Another strange contradiction, we go to school to prepare for real life, yet after graduating, many of the skills we learned feel irrelevant. That's because the definition of smart was always narrow. If you weren't good at math or science, your talents often went unnoticed. Artistic ability, social intelligence, creativity rarely counted. So many people grow up feeling inadequate. That insecurity follows them into adulthood. They chase socially approved definitions of success, not because they love them, but because they want validation. Degrees, titles, status, not fulfillment. In schools, teachers are often positioned as unquestionable authority figures. Critical students are labeled disrespectful. This creates a high power distance, a concept known as the power distance index. A lot of countries scores very high in this category, meaning we tolerate extreme inequality and authority. The result? Adults who hesitate to challenge leaders even when policies are clearly wrong. Innovation stalls, not because we lack creativity, but because the courage to speak up was removed early on. The final point is uncomfortable but necessary. School often teaches us that results matter more than integrity. Cheating becomes normalized, even justified as solidarity. Over time, shortcuts feel acceptable. Psychologist Dan Ariely calls this the fudge factor. People cheat just enough to still feel good about themselves. When success is measured only by outcomes, ethics slowly erode. This mindset doesn't begin in government offices, it begins in classrooms. After hearing all this, the picture may seem bleak, but remember this. School isn't the only factor. Family, culture, and environment also play major roles. So why focus on education? Because school is the source of society. And here's the good news. The brain is plastic. Curiosity can be revived. Courage can be rebuilt. Fear of mistakes can be unlearned. Education should not be about who finishes first or who scores the highest. It should be about becoming a better human being. Before we end today's story, please drop your country or city in the comments below so we can feel connected across the miles. If this story moved or inspired you, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to Daily Inspiration. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay inspired.